I jumped from neurologists for a while, and all of them just were pushing the meds, and I just didn't agree. So I'd go find another one. I finally found one at Rush University in Chicago, his name was Dr. Ko. I haven't seen him in like 15, 17 years. I don't even know anymore. But he was like, well, if you want to go natural, he goes, I don't agree, but I'll support you. And then that was the last time I saw anyone. I was like, okay, I'm good.
Have you been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and you're looking outside your typical medical system for more answers? You're not alone. MS can actually be healed naturally. Hi, I'm Adrienne Charlie. I'm a nutritionist and a certified integrative health coach, and I've healed all of my own MS symptoms over 10 years ago, and I've been symptom-free since then, and I've helped other people do it too. So you ready to dive into today's episode? I am. Let's go. Well, hello, everybody. I am so excited because I've got my friend Traci Hill with me, and she reversed her multiple sclerosis a while ago, and she's actually in my book, and that was really exciting. It's called The Path to Reverse Multiple Sclerosis Naturally. It's on Amazon if you want to pick it up. Full story is in there. But Traci, thank you so much for coming on because I wanted to get you on my podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so fun.
I want to ask you, about your story again. You have an incredible story, and I want my listeners to hear it because I know they're going to get lots of hints and tips and how they can start healing themselves. So tell me what happened.
Well, when you can look back on something after you've been through the forest, right? You can go, oh my God, that was all a gift. So I will preface with saying it was all a gift. I was I had already been through the Army, and I was working on getting my master's degree in kinesiology. I was also running a marathon and training for a 24-hour adventure race and working 60 hours a week at the college. I was teaching, I was running a human performance lab, yada, yada. And all of a sudden I started having these weird symptoms, like my whole left side would go numb. I'd trip over nothing at all. I was exhausted half the days. I was training some days 8 hours a day. Not smart. So my weeks were I had no rest time. I was very stressed out. But I went to my first neurology appointment, and he's like, I think you have MS. And I was like, I don't even really know what that is. And so I went to two more, and they're, spinal tap. Basically, yes, you have MS, and told me I'd be in a wheelchair the rest of my life if I don't take medication. And I was like, whoa, what?
What was the symptom that you had? Like, what made you go to the neurologist?
Yeah, so mostly the whole left side of my body was numb, pretty much constantly, or at least part of my left side. I remember having kind of like, not really drooping, not like a stroke droop, but it was like not quite right. Memory issues, bladder issues, muscle fatigue, just fatigue in general. I remember sleeping 22 hours one day, and my boss kept calling me, like, where are you? Didn't even know. This is way before cell phones, really, So that was the main impetus for me seeing a doctor.
Okay. So after you were diagnosed and your doctor said you're going to be in a wheelchair, and I'm sure he gave you medication to take, what happened after that?
Somehow I settled on Copaxone, which is the once daily shot. I was also a Chicago firefighter at the time, and they wanted me to go on disability. And I'm like, I am not disabled. Like most of the time I'm okay. I was kind of probably in remission at this point. Taking those shots every day, I felt like I had the flu, and the site I would shoot in would be completely bruised and painful. And I was like, I don't understand how I can do this the rest of my life. This does not make any sense to me. At the time I had two dogs, and I went into a store to get dog food. And the woman behind the counter helping me just happened to say she has MS, and she looked fine. I was like, well, what are you doing for it? She goes, nothing. I just treat it naturally. And I'm like, oh, okay, hold on, and this is back in 2001. And
see, I don't remember at that point. I don't remember you telling me about that.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, there's so many pieces, of course, right? So I'd probably just skip that part. But that is probably a pivotal point where I was just like, wait a second,
Sure.
I could do this naturally. Duh. Right.
I love it.
And some of your listeners might be younger, but Google used to be unfiltered. It wasn't scrubbed. You can find anything on it back then. And I found lots, like scary stuff. And I, in hindsight, wish I had printed it all, but didn't know that Google was going to be scrubbed so much. Then I read the book Vaccine A, and that is terrifying. And so that was the point I stopped all vaccines for myself. So, because I understood, like, being in the military and getting deployed overseas, I got 9 shots, all the stress I had accrued, all the things. I had fractured my spine just a couple years before this diagnosis. So I obviously had a lot of stress going on. Type A personality, Aries being very stubborn and bullheaded, just like, just go, 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 no rest. And my body was like, well, we're going to show you how to rest now. And like I say, now it's a gift to see where I've come from. But in all of that, I just decided to find the natural route. I mean, I was looking at bee sting therapy in 2001. I was looking at models from other countries and what other people were doing. And I really did a year-long deep dive of researching. And what I really concluded was that the doctors don't know why you get it. This is back then. Don't know why you get it and don't have a cure for it, which told me they don't understand what it is at all. So I can educate myself on what it is and learn about it. I know better, in my opinion. And that's when I started pulling away from the medical model. And I took myself off Copaxone. The doctor works for me. I didn't have to consult the doctor. I just took myself off. I said, I don't want to do it anymore. And I jumped from neurologists for a while, and all of them just were pushing the meds, and I just didn't agree. So I'd go find another one. I finally found one at Rush University in Chicago, his name was Dr. Ko. I haven't seen him in like 15, 17 years. I don't even know anymore. But he was like, well, if you want to go natural, he goes, I don't agree, but I'll support you. And then that was the last time I saw anyone. I was like, okay, I'm good.
I love that. That's what I did, Traci. Like, as soon as I figured out I can heal on my own, like, I never saw another neurologist. Like, I'm done. Yeah, but go on. Okay, so tell me about your healing journey. Like, once you figured out that you can heal yourself, what were the things that you started doing to turn your life around?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. So the very first thing I started with, and again, this is before podcasts were called podcasts. I don't even know what I was listening on, but it was some audio I had on my, flip phone, and it was talking about box breathing. And I was like, all right, let me try box breathing. So I started with 1 minute a day, and I really liked how I felt. Because again, I was very high energy and ungrounded. And so that box breathing, I was like, oh, that felt good. So then I ended up with like 5 times a day pretty quickly, just for a minute at a time. And that was like life-changing for me, even though there wasn't a huge, like physiologically, there wasn't a huge shift that I noticed, but I mentally felt so much better. And then somewhere mixed in there as I was doing that, maybe it was YouTube, when YouTube kind of first became big. I was watching something, which now I know is emotion code or body code. And I said, oh, let me see if I can do that. I ordered the magnet, and turns out I could do it really well. And I first cleared myself of egg allergies and cat allergies. And I was digging into all these emotions that were stuck in my body. And for your listeners that don't know what that is, but we get trapped emotions from forever ago and ancestral
Traumas. Yeah. Traumas. Yeah.
From the day you're conceived all the way till now. And so I started clearing those out, but I didn't tell anyone I was doing this because I'm like, this is really woo-woo, So I kept it to myself for like 5 years, but I was clearing stuff. And up until then, I would get bronchitis at least once a year. So I knew that my throat chakra had issues. And about 2 years into clearing, I stopped getting bronchitis. I was like, that's awesome. Because I'm like, bronchitis is way worse than anything else you could get because it lasts for months and it's horrible. So I was like, okay, there's something to what I'm doing. So I started with my family and clearing them, and noticed like different stuff was coming up for them. And as I kept going, suddenly I had like no emotions left to clear. I was like, this is pretty cool. I cleared thousands from myself, and that's now something I do virtually. And it's incredibly powerful. I always forget how powerful it is, but when you have all these emotions trapped, they prevent you from performing at your best, or your cells performing at their best. So that was kind of layer number 2. And then I got into the more spiritual side with quantum healing hypnosis technique and some other, modalities like that, and got to release a lot of that stuck energy that really wasn't even mine from this lifetime. That might get a little woo for your audience, but I got to heal so many patterns that weren't even like, there was nothing unconscious or conscious from this lifetime that was creating those patterns. And so I got to let all of that go. And then I worked on my shadows and my childhood traumas and all that stuff. And as I was doing these pieces, it was like more and more was falling into place. And I was just more expressive of who I really am instead of that shielded ego self. And so that was helping a ton, but I also was still in the masculine energy way too much. Obviously, being in the Army and as a firefighter, that's a lot of masculine egoic energy. So I had to learn how to balance the feminine with the masculine and know that you're strong when you can express emotions and cry in front of other people. But this girl back in her 20s never would cry in front of anybody ever. It was a solo shower cry, So once I learned that it's holy water that comes out, and it's healing and it's still strong, all of those pieces again started just falling into place, and that I really got to see who I really am and share that with other people eventually. And heal myself.
That's incredible. I want to ask you about some things I think also contributed to you getting MS. And I think it has to do with dental work and vaccines, right?
Yes.
So talk about that too.
Yes. Well, and I'll go back because I don't know if I shared this in the book or the last time, but I was bit by a tick at age 3, and it buried itself in my neck. I did get a fever, and it was luckily caught by my grandmother, who just happened to be stroking the back of my neck in the summer. And she's like, oh, I didn't know she had a mole back there. My mom's like, she doesn't. And turns out there was a tick buried in there. Wow. So there's that. I did get mono at 13. And then I had 6 cavities that all got filled with silver. I have half of them out. I have 2 left. I have 2 left that have to come out. And then all the vaccines. So I had a lot of antibiotics as a kid. I was born with a bad gut. So I will say that. I was born, and my mom, they were encouraged to bottle feed and formula feed. And when I would lay down at night, I would always spit up. And so the doctor told my mom to dissolve graham crackers in the milk at night. So my gut and my teeth got destroyed. How my mom still trusts doctors today, I don't know. But anyways, so I already had a bad gut and I had bad teeth. So I had lots of cavities growing up and the fillings. And then, of course, a lot of antibiotics and all the vaccines. I got chickenpox twice. It's just a lot. I obviously had a viral load that just was expressing itself continually in my childhood. And so then I got the Army vaccines to go overseas. It was 9 shots in 2 seconds. And the guys I went over with, every one of us got an incurable diagnosis. Everyone. So, yeah, I'm convinced that vaccines are a Mother Nature no.
Yeah, I agree. Agreed. By the way, yeah, I didn't get breastfed either as a child. So I think that has something to do with it too, right? Like when you breastfeed, you're helping your microbiome with those good bugs. And when you don't have that as a child, I think it's hard for your digestive system to get those good bugs, right? Back then, we didn't know anything about the microbiome, right? But there's more and more research that's being done now. So I think that's interesting, Traci, that you were on formula just like I was.
Yeah.
And then of course your stress, right? Your stress and your training, you're training for all these races. So you didn't really give yourself enough time to rest, right? And then you're kind of stressing yourself out with that, right?
Yeah. I remember sitting in a class and we were talking about like recovery, and, like your resting heart rate. And I remember taking mine and I was just sitting in class and it was kind of high. I was like, oh boy. And I kind of knew I was overtraining, but again, too bullheaded to do anything about it and just kept pushing on. And so I know that I created so much adrenal stress because I started losing eyebrow hair here, and hair was kind of falling out. So I knew something was happening, but I didn't want to change anything. I just wasn't comfortable changing anything at the time. So I'm like, nah, we're going to go through with blinders on.
Now, I think you changed your diet a little bit too, right?
I did. So this is a tough one because there's so many components, but I ended up, I found these other people on the natural path with MS, and somehow a lot of them found me. And again, this is like way before social media or anything else. I don't know how I found these people or we connected, but they were just like people that would come into my life and we talk about this stuff and like, oh, I'll try that. I went on like the kefir and like all these, I don't even call them health trends because they weren't really trends yet, but they were foods that you would find at like a Whole Foods or something that no one really talked about. And so I was doing all these things and, I was kind of experimenting on myself. I shouldn't say kind of, I was definitely experimenting on myself to see what would work. And so I kept switching, like I definitely want gluten-free, but then it turned out I had candida and that took me a year to clear. I had to go through hardcore candida cleanse. And then at 6 months, I could bring back in a few things. That was like one of the hardest things I've done. So I was just experimenting with taking things out and putting things in my food. And I didn't log it, which I kind of wish I did, but I wanted to see like, how would I feel? And not really knowing again about the microbiome, from the age of probably 16 or 17, and all the way until now, to be honest, if I eat a certain food that doesn't agree with me, I get the histamine reaction and my feet itch so bad. But I didn't know from the age of 16 to about 28, every podiatrist was like, oh, it's athlete's foot. And they'd give me a cream. It was, how many shoes I threw out? God, I thought I had athlete's foot, but there wouldn't be anything in there. It wouldn't be anything visible. And so I threw out so many hundreds of pairs of shoes because they all kept saying, oh, it's athlete's foot. Well, it wasn't. It was at night, the histamine reaction of a food intolerance. So when I learned that, I started to eliminate a lot of the things that I thought. And I didn't know about FODMAP at the time. I was just doing the research and figuring out what foods to eliminate based on what researchers are like, well, these are the high intolerance foods. And so it was corn, it was, all these things that we eliminate today. A lot of it worked. Some like kefir didn't really agree with me. My body still doesn't like dairy. And, I had to ebb and flow with what I thought worked. And I got into cold plunges way before people were getting into cold plunges. And I got into fasting way before other people were doing fasting. And I tried all these things just to see how they would react with my body. And some things worked at the time, some things still work. And so it's just, I'm constantly experimenting on myself, but my diet did go, I was already eating healthy, but raw salads don't agree with my stomach. And I didn't know it then because I thought I was doing a good thing by eating raw salads, but no, it was not a good thing to eat a lot of raw vegetables for me. And so I still, to this day, try to cook all of my vegetables. But, you learn as you go and you learn as you grow.
Right. So you said you had a pretty healthy diet before. What did that look like? Was that like a paleo-based diet? Was that a vegetarian kind of diet? Like, what did you eat before?
No, it was what people would call like clean, it was all healthy
Okay.
foods, home cooked foods. I
Okay.
mean, not necessarily great for me, but I didn't eat fast food or anything. I wasn't like that kind of person, or I would still eat like homemade pasta sauces and pastas but not like a ton. It was just, I ate chicken, salads. I
Sure.
didn't eat a lot of red meat. I haven't eaten pork since I was 8. So that wasn't a thing, but yeah, it was just, kind of just like the clean diet. At that
Sure.
time.
Okay. Well, because you were training too, right? I mean, athletes tend to eat pretty clean.
Yeah.
So I understand that. Okay. So would you say that your diet now is pretty similar, although maybe it's always evolving? Like, how is your diet now compared to what you discovered while you were healing?
Um, I'd say similar, but it's also based on nervous system and stress and your age and is it winter, summer, how much sunlight are you getting? So the way I eat is constantly shifting. Some days I'll eat more because my body's requiring more. If I'm doing a lot more mental work, it's like you need the glucose. And then, if I don't work out and I'm not doing a lot of mental, well, then I might eat once in the day and, I just don't eat as much. So I don't subscribe to any particular way of eating. I've learned to do intuitive eating, which is challenging for, I'd say, majority of people. But if you can do intuitive eating, I suggest it because I typically eat Mediterranean, I'd say. Like that's my preferred taste my palate and
Mhm.
what works best for my body. In fact, I just did a DNA test for health, and Mediterranean is the best way for me to eat, and no dairy though. So it's kind of like, oh, I already knew that. That's cool.
Okay.
But
So really, you learned how to listen to your body
yeah,
and what it needed. Yeah,
yes,
that makes total sense to me.
yeah. Well, it makes it less rigid,
Hmm.
because when I was training, I was a competitive figure competitor, and you have to eat in this very small parameter of foods, and it mostly worked, but it's not, you're missing nutrients along the way. In the winter, I eat more winter like squashes and beets and sweet potatoes, and then in the summer, you're eating more fruits, and I think that is just kind of a more intuitive and wise way to eat because that's what nature is calling for. But when you're competing, you're just eating, turkey, broccoli, rice, like sweet potato, asparagus. It's not much variety. I mean, it's healthy food, but it's not a lot of variety. And so that, can, plus the competing and the heavy lifting and the very low body weight will wreak havoc in your body. So that was another retraining after that. Like I gained probably a lot of weight post my last competition and had to now like undo all that damage again. So it's always an ebb and flow.
Awesome. Tracy, how long do you think it took you to heal? From when you discovered, okay, I can probably do this on my own, to like did you start seeing changes in your body, like symptoms starting to fade? And then like how long was that process for you?
Hmm. Oh, that's tough to answer. But I did start seeing symptoms fading once I started clearing emotions, and that helped pretty quickly. I noticed changes, but it was also like because the box breathing was helping calm my nervous system and me feeling safer. I think majority of us who are diagnosed with an autoimmune just don't feel safe. There's a safety issue, and it's the root chakra and ungrounded, that security issue. And so it's kind of coming back to that groundedness, because if you don't feel safe in your body, I don't care what you do, it's not going to help. You're going to spiral back out at some point because you don't have the tools to feel at home in your own body. And so I had to also learn that. I also had a very profound quantum healing hypnosis technique session that was root chakra based, and that catapulted me into healing. And so that was probably 15 years ago, I want to say. And that is when I was just like, I'm healed. Like that was it. I'm done. Like not done growing, but I healed. So yeah, so I've been on the path since 2000, 2001. And that session was about 15 years ago. So I could definitely say like 8 years into the journey, I think I started saying I'm healed. And mindset matters. So there's a lot of that layer. There's so many layers, right?
There is. There is. And I heard you talk about sunlight too. So you figured out that sunlight is important as well.
Yes, absolutely. That vitamin D, you need that vitamin D. So if you are eating seed oils and going in the sun, there's a problem because you're going to burn. But if you eliminate seed oils and get the sunlight in your eyes first thing in the morning and some sunlight during the day on your bare skin, you will have a plethora of, well, I shouldn't say a plethora because we could all use more vitamin D, but you will have enough and you won't get that C word. It's the seed oils that create that.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that. I'm glad you mentioned that. So did you read something about that? How did you find out?
Yeah, there's some research on seed oils causing burns because it's rancid and in the sun it'll burn you. It'll burn quickly. So eliminating that from your diet and then getting sunlight with high quality oils, you will tan and avoid the C word. I don't want to get your podcast banned, so I'm going to say that.
So tell me about the oils that you use.
So interestingly, I do not use soap in the shower. I only use a medium grade non-scented sesame oil on my skin. I don't use soap, right?
Okay.
Because one, it pulls out the impurities. It's like, when you take oil and dirt kind of gets attracted to oils. So it's the same concept, and you just use hot water and use a washcloth and scrub it all off. And it's obviously really good for your skin, and whatever goes on your skin goes in your body. So it's a very Ayurvedic way of cleanliness. And then the oils I use in my food are ghee. When I have tallow, I use bone marrow and make soups, which is like the most nourishing thing ever. My body loves it so much. It's kind of gross to me, but I use it. I have a hard time like, oh. I do actually try to avoid chicken because it's not the healthiest thing, but that's a whole nother conversation. And then I try to eat red meat, like grass-fed, which is different than conventional. It's not my favorite thing to eat, but my body loves it. Grass-fed, pasture-raised egg yolks, my body loves. I use high-grade butter, of course, high-grade olive oil. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I use daily.
How about fish? Do you eat fish?
Well, I go back and forth because of the parasites.
Mercury maybe too.
Yeah, I mean, I like barramundi or wild caught, but even then, it's really tough because the fish is really healthy, but then also the parasites. So I have a tendency to, my body tends to, because heavy metals, if you have too many heavy metals in your body, the parasites hide in there. And where I'm at, I have a direct path over my house to O'Hare Airport, and they drop a lot of metals. And so I tend to hold on to parasites. So I have to cleanse more often than most people. And so I stopped eating sushi, which I love, but it's the parasites. So yeah, I don't know. The fish thing it's a really tough mental battle for me because I'm like, eat the fish, it's so good. But then there's parasites and I'm like back and forth.
Wow. Okay. So how do you cleanse your parasites? What do you do?
So I do a 30-day cleanse. It's by a woman who literally almost died, and her husband was told to prepare her death. And she went home and did all this research and found out parasites and mold were killing her. So she created an herbal tincture. It's three tinctures for 30 days. And it really does help eliminate the stuff. But it's also, because it kills them, it binds them, and it captures the eggs and helps get them out. It also attacks heavy metals because they hide in the heavy metals. So you want to get that out of your body. And then you have to do liver support also, possibly. I think a lot of people with MS have liver gallbladder issues because of all the toxins. I think we are just, whether we're prone to or just exposed to more, it's the toxic part that is the challenging part, because unless you get fully tested, you don't know what toxins you're dealing with. Like I know for me, I have a viral toxic load, but as far as heavy metals go, I don't know exactly what, but I just go with all the heavy metals, which is why, like, as you know, eating parsley and cilantro will help.
Yeah. Green smoothies. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's one thing that, so I can't do raw spinach often. Like I'll do it sometimes in a smoothie, but that my stomach and my liver don't like it. So I have to cook a lot of my stuff. I can do a fruit smoothie, but not a green smoothie because my liver and gallbladder, it's too much for it to process. And my body, I get bloated. So I have to avoid those as much as possible.
Sure. Yeah. Everybody's different. Everybody is a bio individual, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, I had aluminum in my body, and guess where it came from? My underarm deodorant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to detox that out, had to throw out the underarm deodorant. And I want to tell everybody too, like everything you put in your skin or on your skin just drinks it in. And you said that before. So you have to be really careful, right, about what you put on it.
Yep. Even like laundry soap, I make my own laundry soap. That's just borax and washing soda and natural, like a natural soap, Nels Step, whatever it's, however you say it. So I make my own, even, dish soap and dishwasher soap and all the things, because all of that ends up in your body at some point. So like I have my natural oils, I don't know if you can see that, natural oils I put on myself instead of, I stopped using perfumes a long time ago, deodorant and all that. So sometimes I smell. My husband and kids don't use deodorant either because they know how toxic it is. But like your lymph glands are right there. And it's like they're already processing so much stuff out of your body. It's like, why are you doing that one more thing? So and it's just, I'm European,
Yeah, I love it. Our world is full of toxins, right? Like the air we breathe, the clothes we wear, the things we put on our skin, the soaps we use, our cleaners in our house, the food we eat. Like it's never ending. Everybody with MS definitely has most likely a heavy toxic load. And, this is years of learning from my end, probably your end too. And I actually found an underarm deodorant online that's all natural, and it actually has magnesium in it too. So I get extra magnesium from it.
What's that brand?
I don't remember the name off of the top of my head, but I'll share it with you later. But anyway, gosh, Traci, you have an incredible story. Anybody struggling with MS right now, what would you tell them?
That's pretty easy. So one, whatever the doctor says, it's not Bible. It's not Bible at all. They still don't know much about it. And they're only just reiterating what they learned in medical school, which is very limited. So go home and breathe, just breathe. And what I'm sure you ask this to your clients too, is, when you got diagnosed, think 6 months to a year before that, what stressful event were you going through? And learn how to process those emotions, because it's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. It's a stressful event, emotional event that your body just couldn't handle anymore. It's overloaded. So again, it's toxic, right? Negative emotions are toxic, just like, the heavy metals and the food, all the toxins build up. And even though it's not a physical toxin, the emotional toxins weigh really heavy. And it's the one that broke you. And so if you can learn how to manage your stress and process emotions that come up not only from childhood, but currently, you will manage your symptoms just fine. now there's so many resources to go over, tons. Like when I got diagnosed, there was nothing. It was just all medical information. And so people like myself and Adrienne have done the work for you to help you through the process so you don't have to go about it alone like we did, and learn how to manage your symptoms. And it comes from all the angles. It's spiritual, mental, emotional, physical. And, the thoughts you think, the foods you eat, everything you consume matters. And so just taking every day step by step, learning how to manage stress. If likely you're a type A personality, learning how to balance that out a little bit, and, nourishing yourself with healthy thoughts and food and water and sleep will help the process. And you're not alone. You're not alone, but just don't take that doctor's word as absolute truth, because it's not.
I love that. That's such a powerful message. And thank you for talking about like life is a balance too. Life is a balance. Okay, that leads me to ask you about what you're doing now and how you're helping others.
Yes. So right now I am working with people like me. So women who are empathic and have ADHD, as I know, and they're in perimenopause. I know there's a ton of you out there, and helping you control the nervous system and lymphatic, and kind of just get your life back so you can sleep better, have that energy you want to run around with kids, grandkids, feel like you're yourself again, because I think we get lost in all the raising of the kids and working and all those things. So I'm working with that. I do have a free group on the school app. And I mean, I have a lot of tools in my toolbox, so I try not to overwhelm, but you can find me on Facebook is usually where I'm at, Conscious Evolution, Traci Hill in there, or on Instagram. It's a little harder to find me because I can never remember my name on there. Or my website is consciousevolution.coach. I'm available for group and individual and speaking, educational. I have lots of resources, but consciousevolution.coach or Facebook are the easiest way to find me.
I love that. Thank you. This is really going to be great for a lot of people who are struggling. And you shared so much great information. I can't wait to get this out. Okay. Is there anything else you want to add? I mean, you already told where people can find you. If they have questions, do you have an email they can email you about if they have a question directly?
Yeah, sure. It's changeyourlife@consciousevolution.coach. Nice and short. Typing for a while. changeyourlife@consciousevolution.coach is my email. I do respond to all of my emails, so I will get to it.
Awesome. Well, I think you left everybody with the last positive message already. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just remember you're not broken. You are whole. And everything will be fine. Just breathe through it all, and listen to your intuition. It knows all the right answers for you.
Thank you, Traci. You're amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Would you like some support in healing your symptoms? You can totally heal. I've helped people do this. It's possible. So if you want help, reach out. You can email me at info@nourishyourway.com, or you can go to the Work With Me page on my website. And that's nourishyourway.com. And you can get on my program and I'll help you get back to health. Don't wait any longer. You deserve to get your healthy life back.